And I was wondering, you know, you have a lot of things, you have a lot of balls in the air there, and I was wondering, how do you manage all that? You've got your family, you've got a very time-consuming career, I think, with a bit of travel and that sort of thing, and you have these things that you like to do that make you you, you know, with the acting and so on. So how do you just keep that all going?
Well, it's not easy. I would be lying if I said that it was, and I think that's something too. You were mentioning, you know, I seem like I'm upbeat all the time, and I am for the most part, especially like if I'm at work or I'm around people, I am upbeat because I feed off that energy. But at home, there are times when I have to say to my family, you know, it's mommy's quiet time, or you know, to my husband, I'm going to let you do what you need to do, but I've got to go and sit by myself. So I've learned to really take time for me. I've learned to say sorry, because when you juggle that kind of stuff, sometimes something falls off the plate. And I've learned to say sorry to other people. I've also learned, like I said earlier, to forgive myself, because I'm human. And it's not an option for me to do less. So I find if I do less, I'm almost not as productive as I am when I'm kept busy.
It's interesting if you can just organize it all and so on. If you're a good organizer, sometimes that works better than trying to have all this free time because you don't know what to do with it anyhow.
Oh yeah, like I'm sure if I wasn't so interested in things, I'd have a lot of free time, but I don't.
I always say I won't live long enough to do all the things I'm interested in doing.
I won't either. But you know, you have to accept things. Learning to sweat the small stuff has been very crucial.
Yeah.
I used to be very uptight. I remember a friend of mine who got married in high school, and my hair wasn't going the right way, and I freaked out. And I was taking it out on everybody and throwing a little temper tantrum. And I look back now, and I just think, who cares? It was your hair. But
there's a book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff,
yeah.
isn't there?
Yeah. Words to live by.
Words to live by.
Something else that I think is very critical, and I want to mention it because I don't think he understands, but having a supportive, loving, wonderful husband really helps a lot too. He steps in, and he doesn't like it a lot, but he takes the kids, and he doesn't complain, and he will make supper, and he doesn't complain, and he'll let me do what I need to do. But, you know, I try to encourage that of him as well. But I don't want to forget that it's not just me. I have a great support system that helps as well. So.
Yeah. And would that everybody could have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. The world would be a different place, wouldn't it, if everybody could have that kind of support from their spouse.
That's right, yeah.
Well, tell me about your hopes for the future. What is the least you want to accomplish, and what's the most?
Well, the least that I want to accomplish professionally, I think, with the Civility is to have done just one keynote. And I know that I can do that. In fact, I know it's coming. I can feel that it's coming. I'm at the point now where I'm getting enough knowledge and I'm getting enough confidence and credibility that it will happen. But ultimately, what I'd like to see happen is that I'd like to have enough credibility to be Canada's Oprah, to be able to influence people to live a better life. Or Ellen DeGeneres, she's another one that I really look up to. You know, she just has a positive outlook, and she's got such a presence that she's able to use that presence to influence others in a positive way.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I would love to be able to do that.
That's a wonderful gift, really.
It is.
Isn't it? Both those women that you mentioned, it's a wonderful gift.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about social media before, and we're talking about Facebook, and we're talking about LinkedIn, and we're talking about Twitter, and the whole vocabulary in Twitter, and so on. I don't pretend to know all the words and so on, but do you think that it enriches your life, or do you think that it intrudes on your life? And I'm not just talking about your life. Let's talk in general terms, if you like.
I was just gonna say, like, it depends on who you ask. And 2 months ago, I would have said, "Oh, intrudes." But now, seeing what it's doing and the potential that it has, if it's used for good, because I mean, I can see that some people manipulate it, but if it's used for good, the potential is incredible. We can reach the masses and we can spread some pretty good stuff out there, and I think that's definitely an enhancement. But the flip side of it is, I see what it does. Like, it's very easy for me to be on there and reading stuff, and I've got my little boy saying, do you want to read a story to me, Mommy? And I'm like, oh, I can't now, I'm doing this. And then I think, I'm not going to get this time back. Yeah. So having to make the choice to put that away, it's, I guess you have to know when enough is enough.
Yeah, because there's, like, every 2 seconds there's another tweet coming in, and you have to discipline yourself, don't you?
You do.
It really takes a lot of discipline. I know one of the members of my extended family, when Facebook became so popular a few years ago, she absolutely fell in love with it and just totally espoused the thing, and to the extent that her children were all in school and so on, and she really was spending her days on Facebook, and there's a lot of extra things you can get to from that, and so on.
Grow a whole farm, and
I know. I mean, it's almost taking over your life if you let it. So I think maybe we have to learn how to limit ourselves on those things, maybe far more than ever before.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it evolves.
Yeah.
And it won't take long.
Yeah.
2 years we'll kind of see how this is gonna play out. But I think back to when the World Wide Web was first coming on, and people that were addicted to the internet, and you had to have interventions because they were spending so much time. But once the novelty wore off, you didn't hear about that much anymore. People were using the internet responsibly for most people. I mean, you're always going to have those few that aren't quite drawing the line between reality and technology. But certainly with these social networks, suddenly you're talking to someone who lives in England, and you have the potential to become their best friend, because you can see them, you can talk to them face to face now.
And you can learn from them, and you find out what someone else is doing, and it just feeds your brain to think, well, gee, we could do such and such, and they're doing that over in England, and, well, what about here in Canada? What could we do? And so it's very exciting that way.
Yeah, we really are a global village.
We really are. For better or for worse.
For better or for worse. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, we've got to the end of my questions, Vicki, and I wondered if there's anything else that you wanted to say or mention.
Well, we had talked about trends, and I talked about that a little earlier, and I just think that staying on top of trends is very important, and I think having this social media is, I don't know if it's like a chicken or the egg thing. Is the social media creating the trends? Or is the social media going to help us stay on top of the trends? Or it's probably a bit of both, but...
Yeah, I think you're right there, because, I mean, certainly the more tweets you put in there, or the more blog posts that you do on your blog or whatever, the more you rise in the ratings and so on. And so you could be sitting there tweeting like nonsense, couldn't you? And yet you would look like a real presence, and so then Google would buy into what you're doing, and so on. You go up in the ratings. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon. You don't actually have to be saying anything.
No, it's really unbelievable. Like, people who, if you took away this technology, people who would never have done anything or been recognized for anything now have a vehicle. Mm-hmm. If they've got an idea and they put it out there and somebody jumps on that idea and then somebody else jumps on that idea, suddenly you've got people that weren't destined for anything or
and
gone viral.
That's actually, to me, one of the exciting things about it is that, we don't have to feel that we're just this tiny little grain of sand on the beach of the world, that we actually have a voice.
And I know.
So that's kind of exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
It brings, like I said, if it's used for good, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But there is the flip side, and if you're not careful, it can destroy you as well. But
yeah. So It's like anything else, eh?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Vicki.
Thank
this
you.
has been a delight.
It has. What a pleasure.